Like it?
Jesus Christ.
What? What?
You know the worst part is that probably,
Is that the champ?
worst part is that
Rocky
probably gets you fucking laid.
Excuse me?
I said that probably gets you laid.
Yeah, no doubt. I go out and this in the bar all weekend. Easy.
Hey,
Fucking-
I'm sorry about Michigan losing, Alex, man. I'm really sorry.
It's whatever.
I have to,
Gotta put it behind you.
no,
What
no,
are you
no.
gonna do?
I'm being honest. Sometimes I get really mean on Michigan fans on Twitter, and it's only because I went to the Capital One Bowl with the Razorbacks back in 1999, and that's when Tom Brady blew us out in Orlando really bad. So I've really had a bad taste in my mouth with Michigan people.
Mm. No, it happens. It was one of those things where you kind of had to sit back and you didn't really know what to do about it. You just kind of take it. So
That's the worst game I've ever. That's the worst ending.
yeah, no, it happens, man. That's what makes college football great. So it's whatever. You get past it. We ready to go?
I'm ready.
How does that little header thing look? Does it look right?
Yeah, you're good, man.
Yeah.
Talk and Chalk, week 8, college football. I'm Alex Collier. I'm the host. I'm wearing a onesie tonight to honor the Chicago Cubs and all their fans who thought that this was the year. It's not. It's the year of Daniel Murphy. He's not your friend. Today I'm joined by the regulars, Sports Gents, Rome. What's up, dude?
What up, y'all? How you doing?
Brian. Enjoyed the birthday last weekend?
Yeah, sorry I missed it, but I hope you guys are doing good.
No, it's all right, man. We had Doc fill in. Doc was a good sub. Spit it. Doc was a good guest. I like Doc. Doc's got that. Doc's got that like undercover like he looks like he kind of came from the woods, but he knows the sport. So he's got like this edge to him, like the Brownie guy,
Mm.
So, sorry for that. And also we have Colin as well from CCH Picks again. Colin and City Royals.
Hey guys, if you're how you guys doing? If you're a Toronto Blue Jays fan, I hope you take some of my losers this week and lose your money. Just kidding. Just kidding. Canadian dollar's not worth anything, anyways.
Yeah, Canadian currency is a conspiracy. Whatever. We always start this off with the recaps, talking about how last week fared. Podcast plays have been going pretty well. To be perfectly honest with you, I think we're distributing some nice knowledge and getting some good angles on our picks. So, Brian, we'll start with you. Did you have any action Obviously, you had action last weekend, but how did last week go with the birthday and everything? I know you weren't on the podcast, but kind of give us a little synopsis of how last weekend went.
I think I didn't get smoked, but I didn't have a winning week by any means. I had 3 winning weeks in a row, and then last week I think I went 5-8 or something. I was golfing in a golf tournament, looked at halftime, everything was looking glorious. Started drinking some more, looked at the final results, and somehow just every game seemed to go to hell in a handbasket. So, yeah, not good. Hoping to get it back this week.
Yeah, it's a shame we can't enjoy winning weeks every week. But those losing weeks are inevitable, and I'm sure you'll bounce back. I know you got some good stuff as usual coming up for this Saturday and whatnot. And Rome, go ahead. I know you're the Pac-12 junkie. How did the West Coast plays and everything go last weekend for you?
Yeah, West Coast wasn't too bad. I wish I would have just stuck to what I know and just kind of stuck to strictly betting Pac-12 and probably would have done a little bit better. But yeah, just going over the plays of the day, starting with Texas A&M. I was on the wrong side of that one. I could tell, leading up.
No, you weren't.
No?
You were on the right side.
3 pick sixes.
Well, yeah. So I liked A&M. I plus 4 at home. Bama's, they came off really strong. They ran the heck out of Derrick Henry, who is just looking better and better each week. Just like Colin said, a couple defensive turnovers, 3 pick sixes, I believe. But even if it's at A&M, that's Bama for you right there. We're gonna take the loss on that one. That was an 0-1. Alex, I recommended Michigan State. I told him, I was like, hey, if you give me Sparty on the road +7, a rivalry game like that, I'll take that. And even before that crazy, botched punt play at the end of the game, I'm sure we all have seen that many times and are kind of reminiscing on how crazy that was. I mean, they were going to cover the +7, even before that. So, sorry to anyone who had Michigan money line. Yeah, I hope you had a good time staying away from sharp objects on that one. And yeah, so that was 1-1, and then unfortunately, I did like LSU to win. Very ignorantly, I was recommending taking. I believe the number was at like 9.5 or 10 a week from today, last week. So the number was all the way down to like 6 or 7. I think it was down to like a touchdown favorite on the day of game day, or maybe even down to 6. So hopefully, if you like the pick, if you like the psychology, the reasoning behind it, hopefully you took it at the 6 or the 7. If nothing else, hopefully it was a push. Hopefully you won. I personally betted earlier, so I didn't make it within the number. And when I was giving the play or the play of the day, I was ignorantly calling it at like 9.5 or 10. So we'll just chalk it up as a loss. So we went 1-2. Obviously the wrong side of the Mendoza line. So let's see if we can get back on track this week.
Good deal, man. And Colin, how about you?
Yeah, actually, I'm sitting here staring at my record from last week. Unlike some cappers I've seen on Twitter, I actually had a losing week. I actually lost 5 units. My big issue, and I think everybody can identify with this, is I have a read on a game, I get a good line, and I should just let it sit and let it bake and not outthink myself. So my examples last week were I hit the opener on Baylor at -17, mostly because I placed the game at about 23 against West Virginia. I like the number opening at 17. I knew it would steam because Baylor at home always does. They're 23-4 at the time against spread at home. And then late in the week, I decided to cover it up by hitting West Virginia at 20. I think that maybe I could middle that 4-point. I didn't. Baylor ran them over as usual, so I killed myself on that. And then I did the exact same thing with Notre Dame and USC. I hit the opener of 2.5. Sark gets fired.
Yep, Colin.
A great Notre Dame -2.5 number. And then, as I get older, and some advice for the people in their 20s, don't chase the night. And that's exactly what I did with Texas A&M.
Technical difficulties.
Having some issues.
Some massive games, 3 pick-6s. I not only had 2 or 3x on that game, I decided to stupidly play another 2x on +16 live. So that didn't play. That was a 5-unit loss for me right there because I can't predict 3 pick-6s. So lesson learned for me and for everybody else is if you have a good read on a game and you hit it, don't worry about the steam that happens on Saturday morning. And if you like a number like Texas A&M like that, just let it sit. Even if they get down.
Sorry. Yeah, no, we were experiencing little difficulties there with the sound. So we did catch the gist, though, Colin. Pick-6s, especially 3 of them, is pretty uncappable when you're trying to cap games. The randomness of turnovers is definitely something that you can't really grab a hold of. So, God, I'm sweating in this thing, man. Man, I got an unbelievable ladder going on.
Take it off.
Shut off.
Keep your goddamn clothes on.
All right. Last week was actually very, very good for myself. The first one that I had recommended was Oklahoma's team total over, and on the 4.5 line, and it was almost funny because you're watching the 2:30 games, and every time ESPN had showed a score alert, it was Oklahoma, and they were just running it up on Kansas State. And I know a lot of people were second guessing this game because Oklahoma's plane didn't take off until midnight or somewhere in 2 in the morning. For Kansas State, they had a few malfunctions, so people didn't know if this was going to screw up the routine and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it was 35-0 at half, covered easily. Penn State team total under was another one I gave out. Hackenberg drives right down the field first drive and kicks a field goal ultimately, but that one stayed under as well. They're going to be in the same spot this week at Maryland. And then the last one that I gave out was USC's team total over. And another easy one is that one had gone over early in the third quarter. Cody Kessler had a nice game up until the waning moments of the fourth. So, and then I did lose the upset alert on Akron. That was just a stupid play by me. Just thought that was a line error. More so in favor of the sharp money. I didn't understand why Bowling Green was just a 12-point favorite to Akron, but Bowling Green showed us how good they really are, and I don't know if they're going to be flying under the radar too much after a 49-point drubbing over the Zips. So let's talk about this week, Week 8. Brian and I were talking. It's a little bit of a weird slate. Not a lot of games sticking out, but Rome, let's start with you. Plays of the day, 3 each. You can start it up.
All right, guys, let me get it started. Let me just also say that, Alex, it's good to see that beautiful...
Dude, I'm changing right now. It's so hot right now.
All right. I just want to say it's good to see you still on Twitter. There were rumors out there that you might be quitting Twitter if Penn State scored more than 13 points. So I'm glad that. I'm glad that team total stayed under for my guy. So, anyways.
Dude, and the thing is, the first drive, they go right down the field, and I'm like, there's no way.
I was rooting for you, bro. There was a point there where I was almost certain they were going to get over 13. I was like, dude,
yeah, no whips and no nays for me this weekend.
Shit. All right. So first game I'm looking at, this is gonna be a, what is this, tomorrow? It's either the Thursday or the Friday game. I'm looking at California, number 20 Cal, going on the road into Pasadena, into UCLA's home. This game, the line seems off to me because I get it. UCLA is actually they're not coming off a bye. They're coming off of a tough loss to a really good Stanford team up at Stanford, and so now they're 4-2. Cal's coming in ranked number 20. They're 5-1. They're ultimately healthier. At least I don't think they're missing anybody, any key positions. At least that I've been able to see so far. And yet UCLA is favored, not by 3, not by like 1 or 2, but by 3.5. It's an interesting number. To me, for some reason, that number alone is telling me to bet UCLA. But I'm going to go against my gut because I don't understand. I don't understand why UCLA would be favored in this position. I mean, Cal has looked like the better team. UCLA has a freshman quarterback who, although is very polished, has shown that he's liable to make some mistakes. Obviously. I just like the experienced quarterback play, and I think California at this point has got arguably a better playmaking defense, and I think that if you can give me any numbers, even if it's as low as 3.5, I know it's on the road. I know it's a Friday game, which is throws a little bit of an extra factor in there, but you guys, I do really like Cal on the road at plus 3.5. I believe it's this Friday, or maybe tomorrow. Thursday. Sorry, tomorrow. Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not going to shoot down the play or belittle it, but I'm going to disagree, and I think the line is pretty spot on. I think that 3.5 looks about right considering UCLA is going to get home field advantage. Although I think, Jesus, turn your fucking vibrate down.
Sorry. God, you cranky motherfucker.
Dude, that's too good. I'm just kidding, obviously, but I think just with two teams that I feel are evenly matched for the most part, I think Cal is a minuscule step above UCLA only because of Jared Goff and the ability to play defense and not having a dilapidated defense like UCLA does, obviously with Miles Jack being injured. But I think with the home field advantage, Vegas and the sports books alike are going to throw that 3.5 just for home field purposes and UCLA being at home. I'm personally not touching that game, but you get a hook on 3 and a pretty damn good quarterback. I think it'll be a fun game to watch, so I won't be playing it. But your first play will be on the Cal Golden Bears plus 3.5 Rome.
Mark me down.
All right, and Colin, you're up next.
Yeah, that's a Thursday night game. I'm going to go with another Thursday night game tomorrow night, and that's going to be Temple. Temple was plus 3. This line makes absolutely 0 sense to me. I had somebody on Twitter hit me up today, ask me, I know they know I'm a big fan of Temple, and I took over 7. I took them to win the AAC, like 20-1, and I've been a big fan of them all year. But I make my own lines, and I have one power rating set that made Temple -3, and I have another power set that made Temple -6. So I don't understand this number at all. I know it's Thursday night. Temple as a dog with 3 against an ECU. Which isn't a whole lot, but that number came off of 3 today. It's on a juice 2.5 across most of the books. I think tomorrow's going to be some, if it floats between 3 and 1 or anything, it's just kind of some ghost phantom movement. But I wouldn't be surprised at all to see this thing clip 0 tomorrow, because I just do not get the 3 at all. So, I got to go with what got me here, which I set my own lines, which makes Temple, the favorite. So I'm going to take the points.
Cool. Yeah, that was one of the games that I had actually wrote my opening lines, and that I had originally had Temple as the favorite in this one. And I think that they have the better defense. And I think when you look at East Carolina last week, pretty much handle Tulsa's offense. Looking at Tulsa, they lost Kevon Lucas, their wide receiver, and since then it's kind of been I wouldn't say it's a team that's in disarray, but you could tell that the loss of Lucas has set this team back a little bit. Obviously, they still have Kiaris Garrett, but Lucas is a big play guy, and I think the wrong team is favored here as well. Colin just got booted, so I'll invite him back in. Brian, you can go ahead with yours, man.
Okay. Like I was saying earlier before we started, I am not a huge fan of this slate at all. Mm-hmm. And some of my more favorite plays will be first half plays, but they're not released at the moment. So I'm going to start out with one that I might really, really regret come noonish my time. But I'm going to play the Clemson Tiger Miami Hurricane under 56. Early start time on the East Coast conference game on the road for Clemson. Clemson's kind of been sleepwalking here and there. The middle of the pack offensive numbers throughout the nation. Watson's good, but he hasn't shown me a ton. Miami, I don't know. Miami finds ways to make shit interesting. I don't know how. I hate Al Golden. Al Golden might make this a shutout. Clemson might win 31-0 for all I fucking know. But even last week, Miami only beat Virginia Tech 30-20, 50-point game. Both teams are on crazy under streaks. Miami's 9-1 under in the last 10 conference games. You got Clemson's 4-1 their last 5 road games. 8-0 winning record. I could name off a bunch of trends. I know most guys don't give a shit about those, but I'm gonna go out on a limb for me because I usually don't bet them. But I'm gonna play that Clemson Miami under 56.
Very nice, man. For me, my first one of the day is going to be the Auburn team total under, which I expect to open up around 22.5, 23, based on where the line is right now. With Arkansas as a 5.5-point favorite, and the total sitting at 50.5 or 51. And I know you can appreciate this, Colin. I don't know about everybody else, but Brett Bielema off of bye weeks with rest. Opponent's team total under is 7-1 to the under, averaging only 13.1 points per game. And looking at Arkansas, they've handled the rush pretty well. And I think when you look at Auburn, the loss of Duke Williams, Jeremy Johnson being swapped out, Sean White coming in, it's just been an offense that's really underachieved this season. And I think, me personally, I had this line at Arkansas -2.5, -3, expected it, and to see that jump all the way to 5.5 at the opener, I think it's saying a lot. And I think that Arkansas at home is going to buckle down, and I'm going to take Auburn in the team total under. Number will be coming out later, the day before, preferably Friday night, Saturday morning. So I'll have that number posted. But that's my first one.
Can I add to that, Alex?
Yeah, please do, man.
All right, talk about my Razorbacks. They're coming off of a bye, and it's an 11 a.m. kick. You kind of faded out, so I don't know if you covered any of this. They're 11-0 against the spread on the under off of a bye week. So Arkansas is coming off of a bye week. Auburn coming off of back-to-back road travel. But let's not forget, this is a sleepy 11 a.m. Central kick, and there's also a 100% chance of thunderstorms in the Fayetteville area for the day. So it's going to be nasty all day. The weather's going to be gross. which is good for Arkansas because they don't really need to be passing the ball or checking down to passes at the line of scrimmage. They just need to line up and run the damn ball. So any total that's under, team totals, total game under, I think it's all good.
Awesome. Looks good to me, man. This is an Arkansas team that's done pretty well against the run. And if you're getting thunderstorms in Fayetteville and Auburn, obviously they like to spread it out. They like to do a lot of motion. They like to run a lot of quick slants and quick outs and try to get the ball in receivers' hands. So if there's some torrential downpour and whatnot, and they're forced to run the ball, I like Arkansas's defense even more. So good looks on weather and good looks on trends. Colin, I will be taking the War Eagle and the team total under for my first one, and then we'll go right back around the clock with you, roll number 2.
Dude, 100% chance of thunderstorms. That's pretty solid. All right, so...
You know what that means, Jerome?
It means, are you making it rain? Who's making it rain?
There will be rain.
The skies will open up.
100% rain. There will probably be some rain.
God's crying, Alex. God's crying. All right. So I think there's a bunch, I think like we've already mentioned, there's a bunch of lines out there that just look flat out wrong to me, especially looking at the top 25. So before, I was going to give out a couple other ones, but we still have the upset alert to talk about. So let's move on to the next game, which I'm going to be talking about. You know me, I love fading Alabama, which is probably not smart or not good for your bankroll. However, I'm looking at the Volunteers coming off a huge emotional victory this last weekend. Coming into Bama, Bama is favored by 15.5 is the number that I'm currently looking at. Bama has really improved and is playing much better both offensively and defensively, especially as of late. It seems like whatever drama and or just weird inconsistencies that was going on between Nick Saban, Lane Kiffin, and anybody else on the team together, it seems like they've solidified and kind of unified and found themselves regain their stride as they normally always do. But I really like. I mean, I know Alabama specializes in stopping the run. I like Tennessee, and especially at such a high number. I mean, good Lord, 15.5 with an over/under of 54. I mean, those numbers are going to indicate it's going to be a blowout, but I don't see how Tennessee loses by more than. I mean, yeah, I guess I could see him. I guess I could see this game being very close to the number, but I will take Tennessee at plus 15.5. Just because I think they really came off of a really strong emotional victory at home this last weekend. And I think they're going to be motivated to want to come in and make a statement against an Alabama team that has always obviously led the SEC, and I think this is a good opportunity for them to try to make a statement for Tennessee against two historical programs like Tennessee, like Alabama. I like this spot.
Good deal, man. So you're taking Rocky Top plus 14 and a hook, along with Cal plus 3.5 for your first couple of plays.
15 and a half.
Yeah. Good deal. Colin, right back to you.
I've got a number of. Oh, by the way, I'll be in Knoxville on Sunday, so I hope they got some good beer waiting for me. There's a number of shady lines out there. I'll go ahead and start off with one that I stare at, and I'm looking at it all week, and it's going to be one of those last-minute fires because I don't know where it's going to go, and that is the Toledo-UMass line. And I don't know what it is. There's just some teams I can't quit talking about every week. Like, I can't quit talking about UMass and App State and Temple. And
I feel your UMass understanding.
So UMass has yet to play to their potential, and I know everybody looks at their scores and they say they're getting their ass kicked. Well, up until that Notre Dame game, they in that Colorado game, they pulled all their starters out in the middle of the third quarter, and then the Notre Dame game, they were in the game almost the whole entire way, and the fourth quarter just completely got away. This UMass team has yet to put 4 quarters together of the potential of the team that I thought was going to come in with a 6-year senior quarterback, and he's healthy, he's probable this week. I made this line 19. So when it opened up at 14, I looked at it and I said, now wait a minute, Toledo has covered every single game this year. They've covered every single game this year. There's no reason that this line 25 out there. I see Toledo in everybody's top 20. So you're telling me right now that they're only a two-touchdown favorite? 87% of the tickets are coming in on Toledo. That is a boatload of cash, and it's one of the most drawn games right now. I'm looking at the ticket counts on Sports Insights. It's drawn a lot of action. 87% on Toledo. It just sits at 14, and I see some hooks on Bet Online, but at Pinnacle it's sitting at 14. This thing sits on 14, or even if I see.
Sorry, Colin, you were breaking up again, man.
Hotel Wi-Fi. I'm just saying. I don't know what all you guys got, but I'm taking UMass.
Yeah, I just think that's a real big spread for a team that can put points up in a hurry. And if this is going to get into a track meet, then 2 scores is a lot of points. For me, Colin, this is one of those games that really stuck out to me because I love backing UMass, and they were a team that I backed a lot last year. And obviously, Brian, you know the same thing. You're on them. You've been on them a slew of times this season as well. But it's just, for me, it's almost like the wells run dry for UMass. I've given UMass enough chances, but it's just 14's a lot of points at home for a team that can put up points in a hurry. So, and another thing that I've noticed is Front Apple's used a lot of different receivers the past few weeks other than Tajay Sharp. So if you're going to lock down on Sharp, then somebody's got to step up, and I think that's coming through. So that could hold a lot of value, Colin. UMass Minutemen plus, say, 14 and a half.
I'll take the hook.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'll take the hook. Pay with Monopoly money on that hook. Obviously, just busting your balls. But Minutemen for column number 2. Brian, you're up.
Okay, my second play is another one that I'm not overly excited about, but I'm going to roll with. I've been on them a few times this year. I'm going to go back to them again. I'm going to play Kentucky plus 11.5 at Mississippi State. I don't know. Kentucky, they've only had one real true road game at South Carolina. They won that one by 4. 2 losses were tough losses against Florida. And I just looked at it. Who the fuck was the other one against?
Missouri? No.
I don't care. Oh, they also were last Thursday. That's what it was. But I like Patrick Tolles on that offense. Mississippi State, they can bring they bring a little bit of defense to the table, but I think it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. If Kentucky can run the ball like they're capable of running the ball, I think they can keep it within a 10-point game. At least that's what I'm shooting for. I don't have all the trends ahead of me. I do know that Kentucky is 6-2 in their last 8 at Mississippi State, and they're 7-2 in the last 9. The road team is 7-2 in the last 9 in this series. So I think it's going to be a tighter game than expected. Kentucky's played pretty much tight games the whole season, and they're close to being that breakout team that we talked about a few times. So I'll roll with Coach Stoops and the Wildcats at plus 11.5.
I like that last tidbit of information that you said, Brian. It's a team that's played in a lot of close, tight-knit games. So getting a touchdown plus is obviously good. Did somebody want to chime in on that one? Or
no, it's that bad a pick. We're just moving on.
Good?
No. I mean, I didn't have anything specific to say. I agree with both you guys. I think I like Colin's play. I like Brian's play.
Cool. I didn't.
For Brian, I just want to say that I think that's going to go up a little bit. I think you're going to see 13 by game day. So if you like the Wildcats, I'd wait. Yeah,
no, I kind of was going to mention that because I've seen it go from 11 to 11.5, and I'm always the guy. I'm not like you, like Colin. I know you and a lot of guys make your plays early. I usually make mine Friday or Saturday. So what I usually say I'm going to pick stays that way, but I'm hoping this one goes to 12 or 13.
Cool. Good deal, man.
Yeah, a comment about that is a lot of people see us do buyback on CCH, and that's because we work really hard at setting the number where we think it. like we want to take Baylor at 17, and it'll go up to 30. Things like that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You guys do a great job with openers. You guys are one of the accounts that I like to check in and see what you're hammering early. And I'm a guy that doesn't like to check out what everybody's doing on Sunday because I haven't even looked at lines yet, and I like to kind of do that for myself. But I'm always scrolling on the timeline and seeing what early looks are for you guys. So that's good. So we're all big Blue Nation fans then come Saturday for Brian plus the points. And for my second pick, I'm going to go with the Indiana Hoosiers plus 16.5. For a few reasons. I feel like I'm kind of walking on coals here. But the first factor in why I'm playing Indiana, I originally didn't want to look at it this way, but thinking about it even more, having the media on these guys talking about the Michigan game and having it be the biggest game for a lot of those guys in their careers, just going into their in-state rival and pulling off a game like that. It wasn't even a win. It was a miraculous win that's still, I think, going to be hanging over their heads. Now, let's not forget that this is still a team that's 1-6 against the spread and is 0-5 against the spread against the double digits this season. Now, the reason I like Indiana the most is the reason I dialed up this quote-unquote model. Call it whatever you want. But it pretty much varied off of coaches and how they responded after losses as a favorite of 5 or more points, which indicated that they were a clear favorite in the game. Now, Indiana's head coach Kevin Wilson is 4-0 against the spread after losing as a 5-point or more favorite since 2011 when he took over. But that's not even the thing. The astounding thing is that he's covering by an average of 20.2 points per game against the spread margin. So you're looking at, in the recent years, he's won by 32. He's covered as a 14-point dog, lost by 6. He beat Illinois by 24 as 9-point favorite. So I think Sudfeld can really exploit this Michigan State defense. Obviously, we didn't see it last weekend because Michigan's a run-first team. They don't have a quarterback that can sling it like Jake Rudock. So I think this is a perfect setup, especially with Lincoln, Nebraska coming up on deck for Sparty traveling. So I'll take Indiana plus 16.5.
Like it.
Yeah. Rome, you're up.
Well, I just got the notification that the Mets have advanced to the World Series, so I just wanted to give a quick congratulations, quick shout out to all their fans. Hey, somebody give me an HGH test on Daniel Murphy though, because all I know is that guy's got to be on the same shit that Alex is on. That's all I'm saying.
No doubt. You ever see that guy's lats? Huge.
Dude, what is going on? This guy's literally hit a freaking home run off of like every single pitcher in the postseason.
Yeah, pretty spectacular.
Hot.
What was his average during the year?
It was not the same as what it is now. All right. Anyways, so I'm gonna be moving on to the third play, which is gonna be, I was looking at Duke at Virginia Tech. I'm gonna stay away. I'm gonna actually go with the play that I really like the most before I talk myself out of it. So let's get back on board. So for number 3, we're looking at Texas Tech at Oklahoma. Sooners are favored by 14.5. I actually am going to be. The over/under is set at 73.5. I want to take the over. I'm looking for somebody to very calmly and very logically talk me out of taking that. Originally, I was telling myself, hey, guess what? Bob Stoops has really improved Oklahoma's passing defense over the last 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, they're just coming off of a shutout, obviously, against Kansas State. I like there to be a lot of points in this game. I think I just see a shootout, honestly, with this one. And it was the first thing that I when I was looking over at the slate 2 or 3 days ago, first thing that caught my eye. I've been trying to overanalyze everything. I don't really have as much statistics to kind of back me up. But I don't know. Like the more that I thought about it, I kept thinking, well, maybe Oklahoma's defense has really improved, and maybe just with their pass D, they'll be able to stop and create some fourth down turnovers. Maybe stop them to some field goals. To prevent the over from hitting. But the more that I think about it, I do think that that Texas Tech is going to come out, ready to play a tough game against a great organization and team and school in Oklahoma that is year round obviously really good. And I think Kingsbury. I think this is one of those games where he's just going to want to really have a good performance out of his team. I feel like he's going to these high profile these marquee matchups. He's going to want to really make a statement. So not only to obviously attract recruits, but to build his own resume, I guess you could say. So. Yeah, I like a lot of points in this one. I'm going to go with the over on that one, Alex.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with going against your gut, man. It really isn't, especially when you're looking at two teams. I mean, this is pretty much an eyeball test. Two teams that throw the ball, that run a lot of plays. And Oklahoma, you can make a case that their secondary's gotten better, but looking at Kansas State last week, like I mentioned, Rome, not a good spot for the Wildcats. There was really no reason to even come out and play. I mean, 0-2 in conference play. It's a day game. They had come off of two real disheartening losses, real discouraging losses to Oklahoma State and TCU. So I didn't think that they were in a good spot. Texas passed 12 times on Oklahoma. So they're going to be seeing a lot of plays from Mahomes, and Baker Mayfield, obviously, we know can do it with his legs and with his arm as well. So you taking Oklahoma and Texas Tech on the over, you're taking Cal, and you're taking Tennessee, correct?
That is all correct.
Okay, cool. Colin, you're up for number 3.
Well, I have a Nugget game of the year on USC -7, so I'm going to roll with the USC -3.5. Obviously, I've got a bigger, shittier number, but I'm going to roll with them. I think the Utah love is just out of control. I think they're one-dimensional. I think USC's defense is can be sliced through, and Booker should run all over them. But this number with USC is a favorite. There are people taking their grandmother's mortgage check to the window to grab Utah and the points, and it's showing in the point spread. Not only does this thing open up with USC as a dog, it's climbed up over 3, and as of tonight, BetOnline's got this listed at -4.5 on USC, while Utah is getting all the money. This is an easy slammer for me. I mean, USC Trojans, they're going to win this game. They're going to cover just fine. Hopefully they can cover that 7, that number that I got at Golden Nugget back in June. But, Utah's little run is over. It's done.
Nice. I'll be feeding off of that one in here in a little bit. Colin, Brian, you can go ahead and close out your plays.
My third and final play will be the Washington State Cougars +7.5 at Arizona. It's an ugly thing because Arizona, they're like Jekyll and Hyde at home. They're a whole other squad. They play great. I just love the way Mike Leach has the Cougars playing right now. Quarterback Luke Falk is just slinging it all over the goddamn field. He threw for over 400 yards and 6 touchdowns last week, and he's 21 touchdowns to 4 picks. Washington State's been actually a short sample size, but a covering machine on the road this season. They're 3-0, 4-1 their last 10-3 in this series, and I think over a touchdown in a game that, barring too many stupid mistakes, like I said, Falk only has 4 picks. I think it goes down to the wire, and I like Washington State to possibly win, but that's not my dog of the week. But I like them to cover the 7.5.
Cool, man. Yeah, looking at Luke Falk, after that Portland State game, Week 1, he's really turned it on. He's just your prototypical Pac-12 passer, man. He's just and looking at what Connor Holiday did at Washington State too. He's serving as a prime benefactor, prime successor to a quarterback that really just put up a ton of yards. So, cool. Cougars plus the points. For me to finish off, I'm going to feed right off of you, Colin. I'm going back to the well. I'm going to strike gold on the USC Trojans team total over. Right now, I'm just going to throw it out there. I think it'll probably be 31.5 or 32. Came again last week after a loss. Kessler and the Trojans, 35.6 points per game now after a loss. And I sincerely think that USC can stretch the field on Utah with Smith-Schuster and Adoree Jackson and Darius Rogers if he plays. And I think there's just too much home run capability for USC. A team that's still kind of hanging in the weeds of the Pac-12 South, and it seemed that if they do beat Utah, can still make a run towards it. So this isn't a team that's just going to lay down with Sark out. It's not a team that's going to lay down because they're 3-3. They're playing in the Coliseum at night. The place is about to be lit. They lose, I quit Twitter.
Hey, Alex.
That's right.
Hey, if they lose, then I want to hear what you're going to do to those cheerleaders, those USC cheerleaders.
If I lose, what am I going to do?
The song girls.
Yeah. I'm not doing anything if they lose. Just give me them on the team total over 31.5. And I'm not putting my Twitter on this one, but I sincerely think that Kessler just goes off. 415 yards and 4 scores for Kessler. USC wins 42-24.
Yeah, he can't win the Heisman, but he's definitely on the NFL highlight reel warpath right now.
Oh yeah. And you got to think after that game last weekend, pretty much throwing those 2 interceptions to put him out of contention. I think Kessler's going to bounce back in a big way, and not just saying that, but basing it off of previous statistics. The guy was 8-0 against the spread, averaging almost 37 points per game after a loss since he was the starter back in 2012 or 13 rather, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm going to play that role once more and see how that goes. And especially with everybody hammering Utah and people on covers hammering Utah, I mentioned it earlier. It could be a sharp stream to take USC minus the points. So we'll be on the same page there, Colin.
The best thing about flying is when I get on the airplanes on Monday mornings and in the airports, I hear, "Did you see that Utah is a dog against USC?" And then I immediately hear the chatter of all these people in the airport, and I know exactly who to play because. I know the general public who they're fishing on all the time.
Oh, they make it so easy, don't they? Yeah.
Hey, so let me throw one out. Let me get your you and I love dirty, nasty dogs.
Do I get to guess?
Throw me in there.
I'll give you one guess.
Sure. Power 5 or mid-major?
Mid-major.
Don't even tell me you're thinking Charlotte.
I took them last week and they covered. They almost won in my leg, right? They lost by. Yeah, I mean, I had the dirty. By the way, for everybody that follows my dirty parlay, I think 4 of 6 won last week flat out. I was damn close to pulling off the whole the superfecta there. But yeah, Charlotte last week was. I love them. I like them again this week, but that's not even the team I'm talking about. There is some
Western Kentucky.
It's I don't know what's going on with Western Kentucky and Louisville, but that's not on my list either. Even though I think Western Kentucky has the ability to really surprise some people this week. What's going on with the Houston UCF line? Now UCF we know has lost to FCS teams. They are terrible. Everybody's now on the Houston train and the Herman train. That's the reason Ohio State was good in the first place. So the number is sitting at 21.5. With 88% of the tickets coming in. My power ratings, like I said, I look at ESPN FPI, puts this game at 13, and my power ratings put this at.
Damn it. What's up?
But 21.5 is way too much.
Like it. Nice, dude. That's one game that I wouldn't even have thought of. So. That's cool. Good stuff, man. I always like hearing that. It's almost like, you know what it is? It's almost like like buying a pick and then reading the write-up and being like, oh, shit, I wonder what game it is. And then sure enough, it's like this out-of-bounds game. But it's not surprising. I mean, those little conferences, and it's so nice to pinpoint that value that's just kind of hidden.
Well, and I hate what happened last night, though, because I had this huge trend on Arkansas State. I had this huge overtrend, and then the fucking total took a 7-point dive within the last couple hours before kickoff. I couldn't figure it out. It was perfect weather, no injuries whatsoever, and then the over flies easy. So, I bought myself out of it. I shouldn't do that. If you have a good trend, if you have a good read, don't worry about that.
Don't you hate that, man? Line movement is so tricky sometimes because it gets your mind thinking in the most negative ways.
Well, and the thing is, it's that time of year where Tuesday Maction's coming up too, where it screws with everybody's brain, right? I mean, it's going to screw with everybody's brain coming up. Hey,
Colin, you're breaking up once again, man.
I don't get it. I don't get that. I don't get this number whatsoever. If you guys go and check out their schedule, they got Florida State left, which I think Florida State's going to get exposed at some point, right? If it's not Clemson, somebody's going to expose them.
Colin, who are you talking about, man? You broke up again before you started.
I took Florida 75-1 to win the national championship.
Oh, okay.
And I encourage everybody to go hit that because there's only 2 hedge spots before the SEC championship game, and you've got Florida State and you've got Georgia. And I don't see Georgia or Florida State. Florida's just way too athletic, I think, for Georgia. And Florida State, I think, is going to get exposed, and they could get Golson to fumble the ball at any time. So if you just even hedge 1x, I mean, it's 75-1. I put $100 on it. I could put 100 on Georgia. I could put 100 on Florida State. I could put 100 in the SEC championship game, and at any of those times, my future turns into a 72-1 or a 71-1 with juice. The 75-1 makes no sense for a one-loss team whose only loss would be at LSU, and that's after they lost their quarterback, right? I mean, the committee would put them in, and the committee would put them in an instant. That 75-1 is a joke.
Okay, cool, man. I like that. Good insight on a nice little irregular future bet. We haven't really talked much about that. I think we should start getting into that next week. Maybe start talking about teams that are kind of falling under the radar still, teams, especially with schedules coming up, who's holding value, who looks good, who could be out. So good stuff on the gauges there, Colin. So you're taking UCF as your would you say that that's your biggest dog, your upset alert play? Damn it.
We'll take it as a yes.
Take that as
plus
a
3.
yes. So you were breaking up again.
I'm sorry, guys. It's the hotel Wi-Fi. Probably the Wyoming plus 35 is the biggest dog that I'm going to take. I think Boise's kind of shot their wad. I think that line should be around 27. So Wyoming and 35 is one of my favorites.
Cool. I'm just going to make this one quick. I'm going to take, for my upset, I'm going to take Maryland plus 6.5. Just reiterating the whole Penn State not being able to score on the road now. 14 or less in 8 of 10 road games with Hackenberg starting. Limped off the game against Ohio State, so there is no injury problems or protocol for him. But and this is a Maryland team coming off of a bye week. They're in the middle of a gauntlet right now. Just played West Virginia, just played Michigan, just played Ohio State. Give it a bye week, and then you get Penn State before Wisconsin and Iowa. And then Minnesota and Rutgers, if I'm not mistaken. So this could be the last shot for Maryland to get a win before the season's closed. Penn State possibly after a letdown in Ohio State, where they score first, kind of put the crowd in a little bit of a frantic mode. But coming into Maryland, I'm going to take Maryland plus 6.5. Roll.
All right, guys. So I know that my camera posture hasn't been quite what it should be during all these Google Hangout live recordings. So I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity to look directly into the camera on my laptop when I give this upset alert special right here. My 2 guys, Alex, Colin, they already talked about it. I'm piggybacking on USC. This line, this is another one of the lines of this weekend's games that, to me, looked completely just wrong. Like, how is a Utah team that's ranked 3rd in the nation, that's undefeated, that's coming off of some impressive victories in those 6 weeks or in the 7 weeks, how are they 3-point dogs or 3.5-point dogs on the road at SC? Like, how does that work? How does that happen? Oh, it's because Vegas knows that SC is going to win this game. Now, I don't know if they're going to win by 2 or 1 or 3 or 3.5 or 4 or 7 or whatever. But yeah, give me SC to pull the upset. If you want a couple other ones to keep an eye on, let's keep an eye on Indiana to possibly, definitely cover the 15, possibly win that game straight up. Let's also take a look at Duke, who is playing on the road at Virginia Tech. I know Brewer's going to be coming back this week. Virginia Tech's favored by 2.5 right now. Duke could easily win that game straight up. I think Duke's a really, really solid, very strong defensive team. It's got some experience, obviously, at quarterback too. So I like any of those, but I really like USC, and I wanted to look directly into the camera for that one.
Perfect. We love that, Rome. Thank you. All right, Brock, you're up. You haven't talked in a while, man. I miss you tons.
Yeah, I miss you too. And Rome, just going on his banter and banter and banter, stole my dog. No, I'm just kidding. My dog of the week, I guess you could say, but it's technically not a big upset. I'm gonna take the bait on the fishy line, and I'm gonna take the Duke Blue Devils plus 120. Take the 2.5 if you feel like it. I know they're getting Vautech's getting Brewer back. You're playing in Virginia Tech. I get it. But Duke, to me, is a much better team. They've kind of rounded into form after kind of a slow start to the season. Their defense is just lights out right now. I see Virginia Tech having a heck of a time trying to score, and I see Cirque leading the charge offensively and doing just enough to leave Blacksburg with a win.
Yeah.
Would you like a stat, Bubba?
Yeah, bring it. What am I doing wrong?
First half.
Virginia Tech is 10-1 straight up on Duke the last 11 years. That's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, but this is a whole new Duke team. This is different.
Duke's also 8-0 against the spread in the first.
The Underdogs 5-2 in their last 7 meetings.
Hey, I see it in the numbers. I just thought I'd throw it out that for some reason Beamer owns Cutcliffe and Duke. I don't know what it is.
Oh, I know. That's why I said I'm taking the bait. I'll probably fucking look at the scores and see they lost by 3 touchdowns, and I want to break something.
You know why?
I'm going with what my opinion's the better team.
You want to know why Beamer hates Cutcliffe? No, I'm
Because
serious.
Manny loves Cutcliffe.
No, well, that's like reason number 6. But here's the first reason why Beamer always wants Cutcliffe's throat is because one weekend after Virginia Tech had lost to Virginia, Beamer had gotten off the flight from Virginia and gotten to Blacksburg, and he walked into his room and Krzyzewski was raw-dogging his wife.
Polish Punisher, baby, yeah.
Where do you come up with this shit?
It's unreal.
I don't know, man. But I'm just telling you what I heard.
Hey, he's a holy man. He's a holy man. Come on.
Yeah. So when Virginia Tech storms out to a 21-0 lead in the first, you know exactly why. Oh man, too good. All right. Well, now that that's said and done, we have a plethora of games to go over here. We'll do it like we did last time. We'll go 1 sentence or 2 sentences or fewer on what you like. We got a few from the fans as well. So, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Brian, you gave your opinion on that. You like Kentucky plus the points, possibly weight. Mizzou and Vandy plus 2.5, 35. I'm taking Vanderbilt plus 2.5 on this one in a low-scoring game. I don't think Missouri's got the offensive numbers. Vanderbilt's really flown under the radar, and I'm going to take a team that could use a win right now. As simple as it sounds.
Yep, that was my second choice for the dog play of the day was cool. Vandy. And if anything, if you can stomach a 35-point under, the under's a very nice-looking play as well.
It's a perfect. Both teams have gone under. 0-13.
Yeah.
0-13.
If you can stomach it, it's a good one.
Yep, that's my take. Colin, you have a take on Missouri and Vanderbilt?
Yeah, the line is definitely fishy in the fact that it looks like you should take. You should take Missouri at the 2.5 when you should be taking Vanderbilt when all this public love's coming on Missouri. Missouri's on back-to-back road travel, and they always have unders within conference on the road. I think the one thing that I was kind of letting up on is that they're 14-3 against the spread off of a loss, and they're 13-4 against the spread since 2011 as an away team. They definitely have the trends going for them here, but I mean numbers speak louder than trends, and you can see it that the ticket count's way too high on Missouri.
Okay, Rome.
I don't have the stomach for this stuff. That's why I stay away from seafood as much as possible. Vandy's at home. I agree with you guys. I think the line is 2.5 over under 35. That doesn't really add up at all, at least to me. I know Missouri's usually a strong defensive team. I know they got Matty Mock. I don't know if he's going to be playing or not. I haven't really researched this game specifically, but based off of the numbers, I will take Vandy at home at plus 2.5.
All right, cool. Looks like we're all on board there then. Let's talk about one of the teams that's really emerging as perhaps a New Year's Six team out of the AAC, Memphis, coming off a huge win at home versus Ole Miss. They're going to be laying 10 on the road versus Tulsa. Line is nearing 10.5. We've seen a few numbers. Total sitting at 75. In my
This one's
opinion,
easy.
I like the over in this one. I think Tulsa is going to score some points after being stifled by East Carolina. I think they can catch Memphis on their heels. And obviously, when you have Paxton Lynch, I think he can have a big day versus a pretty subpar defense. So give me the over 75 in this one, and then anybody else can just chime in.
Yeah, this one's easy for me. This one is way easy for me. I power rated it as a 7.5-point game, so obviously I like Tulsa in the 10.5. Memphis is coming off of their biggest victory of. The Memphis kids beating the Ole Miss kids is a really big deal. Trend to back up this thing. Tulsa is 6-1 against the spread in their series with Memphis, so Tulsa all the way.
Cool.
Yeah, no, that's what I was, before the show even started, I was talking to Alex about Memphis basically just played their Super Bowl, beat an SEC team. They basically shot their wad like a kid on prom night. So they might need a few Gatorades to refuel before they can go beat down another team.
And go get this number now. I would not be shocked to see it hit down into the 8s.
Yeah, by game time, I guess the number going down to 7.5 or 7. Bro, you have any take on Tulsa, Memphis?
You know, I really, this was another matchup that I was looking at, the over/under. Like you just said, Alex, I thought that the over would be a great play in this game. I mean, I know Memphis defensively has been very impressive as of late, and they're just coming off a huge win against Ole Miss, like you guys have very, very smartly brought up. I'm torn. I don't know which one I like better. I don't know if I like Tulsa, especially at the 10.5. If you can get Tulsa 10.5 with the hook, then I would definitely take that at home, because I don't know. Memphis is pretty good defensively. I mean, Paxton Lynch, hell of a quarterback. He can put up points. He's polished. So I will go with what, instead of the over/under, which was my original inkling. This is the weekend where I'm going against my gut. So give me Tulsa as home dogs, 10.5.
All right, let's talk about SEC clash here. Two teams coming off of losses. A&M traveling into Vaught-Hemingway, 5-point underdogs to Ole Miss. Total right now 65.5. I think this one's a little bit inflated. On defense, playing in their own confines, and I think they're going to really saddle up this weekend after letting in a quarterback from the AAC throw all over them. Texas A&M had their issues last week on offense, and I still do think that Texas A&M has one of the most underrated defenses in the country. So I think this one's a little bit inflated. I'll take the under.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of go on the same boat. I'm going first half under. Both of these two, like I said, I tweeted this out on Sunday. You want to talk about the biggest hangover in the world, both of these teams are on it. I'll take a first half under.
Cool. Good deal. Ryan or Rome?
I'm good. Keep going with that one.
So this is an interesting matchup. Robert Incondice, or whatever the hell his last name is, he got injured last weekend. I'm going to be curious to see if he's playing this week. I'm almost positive he won't be playing this week. So that defense, Ole Miss is stocked full of talent, whether it be offensively or defensively. They've got playmakers. They've got guys that can do it. But they flat out underachieved this last weekend. Memphis is a good team. Obviously, it was a tough matchup. They lost. Chad Kelly had a decent game. This is a tough one for me, but I agree with what you guys are saying. 65.5 is still a pretty high number for this being. I'll tell you what. Both these teams lost this last weekend. Really is a tough matchup when you kind of think about it. I will take Ole Miss at home to cover the 6. That's honestly what I like in this game. I think Chad Kelly is gonna have a strong bounce back game in this one.
Cool. Let's talk about Ohio State. JT Barrett gets inserted as a quarterback. Cardale Jones takes a seat. Laying 21 on the road in Piscataway versus Rutgers. Be a night game, sellout game. I'm passing on this one because I suck at betting Ohio State games, so I'm breezing by this one.
Alex, didn't you hear that? JT Barrett?
Rutgers got some key additions back to their offense. They're going to be able to score. I think they're going to be able to score some points here. But with JT Barrett running that offense, personally, if I had to make a bet on this game, I would just take Ohio State team total over because I don't think there's going to be any defense played in this game.
Cool. Brian, were you going to say something, man?
Yeah, it seems like the easy play would be, oh boy, JT Barrett's back. They're going to light up the scoreboard. They very well could. That's why the team total's probably a pretty smart play. But I don't know. Ohio State they played good defense this last week, but they have not impressed me with anything. They're letting average teams move up the field on them from time to time. 3 touchdowns on the road. I believe it's a night game too. Yep. That's just asking for trouble. I think the public's going to be running to play Ohio State because Barrett's there, but I think the team total is probably the better play.
Yeah, this is a game where you can say, oh, I think this is the week that Ohio State finally saddles up and buries an opponent, but we've said that now for 8 weeks straight, so I'm not ready to endure a so-called stab in the back from Ohio State if I bet against them, because once I do, they're going to throw up 60 and Piscataway, and I'm going to be crying in the corner with a bottle of Admiral Nelson. So, with that, I'm passing. The last one, UConn.
Wait.
Oh, shit. Sorry, Ron.
Hey, Alex. Hey, guys, guess what? Hey, guys, this is the weekend that I finally like Ohio State to start JT Barrett and just completely fucking bury Rutgers on the road. Opposite.
But with that, I think I'm going to go with Rutgers.
Hey, go ahead and fade me, man.
I'm surprised you didn't flip your play.
You'd probably be doing well if you were. So I'll tell you what. For all the faders out there, yeah, give me Ohio State on the road. I mean, Jesus Christ, 21.5 is a pretty high number, but I do like this. I like the solidarity of Urban announcing he's going to go with JT. I think this could honestly be the weekend where we finally see Ohio State put up and show up with the performance that we've been expecting. So give me. I mean, this shit's it's called talking chalk. So give me the road chalk on this one.
Yeah, Rutgers secondary has been pretty bad for a number of seasons, and it was heavily exploited last weekend when Nate Sudfeld just pretty much took a huge dump on their defense. So we have one more. That's UConn getting 12.5 at Cincinnati. Total sitting at 57.5. I'm going to start off by saying I like the over in this one. I think UConn's going to score some points. Cincinnati had BYU right where they wanted them. Let that one slip up. Coming back home. I know UConn's been pretty stout defensively, and they have been for the past few years too. But Faden Moore at quarterback, I think, is going to light it up, and I think UConn's going to score. I think they could put up 21, 24 points. I'll take the over 38-27 Cincinnati.
This UConn team will be officially a part of the Dirty Lay this week. This is a dead dog number, and I think Cincinnati's a sitting duck, and I'm taking the Huskies to win the game flat out. Me too.
It's like we were saying earlier, Alex. We can't get a feel on UConn. 1 week we play them, 1 week we don't. So I'm gonna sit back and watch and root for your Dirty Lay, Colin.
Yeah, fuck my over.
I'll root for your over too, sweetie. How's that sound?
Yeah. Hey, I'm rooting for UConn in a low-scoring game, Colin. Let's get it.
So this one for me was this is probably a no play for me, but as soon as you first said it, Alex, I actually agree with that. I think that in the last year or two, we probably would be thinking that UConn is normally an under team. They might have started out that way the first couple of weeks of this season, but I think that the offense has kind of slowly gotten back into the groove of things, and I do like them to score some points this weekend, this matchup. I think Cincinnati, as long as Gunnar Kiel is playing, they can put up some points. So I'll take the over on that one.
Is Gunnar Kiel playing? Or is Hayden Moore starting?
I don't know.
I think they're better off with Hayden Moore.
I think they're better off with Hayden Moore, too. They got a nice little gel going. I mean, that guy beat Miami single-handedly, came in relief for Memphis and just tore it up, and I think played a pretty damn good game against BYU. I'm just going to check right now. Everybody on covers is hammering Cincinnati right now. Yeah, it does look like Kiel's going to be available to go versus UConn. That line right now is just really weird to me. And I think when you look at this, when you look at UConn and who they played so far, they put up 22 points on Army. They played Mizzou, a pretty damn good Navy team that's played some pretty good defense this season at times. Still put up 18 points, not bad. On the road at BYU, Provo is always a hard place to play, especially with the altitude. Scored 13 points. UCF put up 40 on them, and then put up 20 on a South Florida team that leans on their defense. So you're going to play against a secondary that sucks for Cincinnati. I think UConn can score some points this weekend. So that's my take on that. You know,
Great take. Great take.
Thanks,
Outstanding take.
Appreciate it.